Welcome back to Dateline New Haven on WNHH FM, New Haven's home for community radio. We take you behind the headlines on the stories that make New Haven tick. We're doing a little role reversal this morning, and we guess this afternoon. So WNHH, since WNHH was founded in 2015, one of our important voices behind the mic as the host who asks the questions of people who do great stuff in the community is Tom Ficklin. He's had the Tom Ficklin Show. But today, Tom is sitting in a different chair. Tom is the guest because he, too, is busy making New Haven a better place as the Alder, Democratic Alder, from Ward 28, Beaver Hills. So today, he's going to talk to us because we have a little news to break here. Mr. Tom Ficklin, who is in his first term as Alder. He came in at 6 months in when the incumbent Alder had to resign. And now he's filed papers to run for a full 2-year term in this year's elections. Tom Ficklin, welcome to the guest chair.
It's good to be on the hot seat, Paul.
How does it feel like instead of being in the main seat?
I wore my asbestos underwear.
Did that get approved by the EPA, Tom? I'm a little
No,
worried.
it's kind of a clinical trial part to it. It hasn't gotten a clinical part.
All right, so we're going to make some health news here in addition to politics.
Absolutely.
So Tom Ficklin, what made you decide to run for a full 2-year term? I was thinking like Harry S. Truman, he finished out with FDR, and then he ran for a full term and won, El Grasso, and now Tom Ficklin.
Yeah, the last 6 months is July 8th that I was sworn in by Mayor Elliger. And the last 6 months has kind of really, I don't want to be too metaphorical or philosophical, but that's the way I am, because naturally. It's kind of resurrected me, revived me, reinstituted me, re-challenged me, definitely. So it's almost been a rebirth and a reincarnation.
Well, that's a really interesting point, Tom, because, you've had a long career of community service. You've done everything but run for office, right? You've done journalism, you've done activism, correct? You've done media, promotion for people, and you're always boosting what community organizations are doing. And unless I'm wrong, tell me if I'm wrong, being an Alder when you're, I guess, in your 70s now, right, was the first time in your life you were actually making the laws.
Indeed. I did major in political science at Bucknell and got my undergraduate degree in political science in 1971. But you're absolutely right. I mean, people have asked me from 1970, as long as they've known me, why don't I run for an office? And I just, thank them for the aspiration and the intention, but it really never it didn't grab me. And it's not that I had anything against politics. As I say,
There's just so many ways to make a difference. Like, you've always been, in my opinion, one of the most interesting people in New Haven, knowledgeable to talk to about politics. You obviously care a lot about politics and government.
Right.
There are a lot of ways to influence it, whether you're writing, whether you're active, whether you're helping other people. And being in public office is just one way, right? One way is to actually make the laws and cast the votes.
Right. And so when I saw the article in the New Haven Independent about Shafiq's resignation, most people, as you say, have stereotyped me, and I'm not being sarcastic, but stereotyped me or categorized me as being pretty much of a cognitive guy. But I got to tell you, from an emotional, body, mind, spirit standpoint, I was just overwhelmed with the interest. I read the article, didn't go to my cognitive mind about becoming Alder, but I just had a feeling that this is something that I needed to do. I won't say it was a call or a spiritual kind of revelation, but I will say it was a pleasant experience to kind of experience something and not go straight to the brain.
Mm-hmm. And so, Tom, you've been an Alder. What's it like? Was it what you thought it would be, or is it different?
Well, again, I had no way of judging, so I have no way of judging what it might have been like, or
but you've talked more hours than you can ever count in your life to other people who've sat in that chair. You've watched what they do.
True. And so this is a good point. I want to try to articulate this clearly. Talking to someone and hearing their story is one thing. Like what it's like to swim. You talk to a swimmer, okay, he or she tell you they move their arms, their legs. So you get that visual thing, but without doing it, you really don't know what it's like. So I've heard stories and anecdotes about Alders, and I was at the Alder Records last night, and for the Equal Opportunity Commission, and thought about Bill Jones and where the older people met there before we moved to the new facility. But what's your question again, Paul?
Well, just has it been what you thought it would be? What's it like being Alder?
Yeah, I'm still open to what it's like. It's been 6 months. The involvement in the day-to-day decision making, be it sidewalks, be it trees, be it refuse, be it Christmas trees not being picked up, being shootings, be it just quality of life issues on a daily basis, just being aware, from really an intimate standpoint, if I can use that term, of what it's like to kind of have a safe society, a fair society, an equitable society. Everything connects with one another. So what it's like is I'm on the public safety committee, I'm on city services, Black and Hispanic caucus, automatic affairs, and and not to mention going to the various meetings twice a month, just seeing the interaction, seeing the, if not the collision, but the attempt to create harmony in the city, the attempt to create harmony in the city. People ask what's my platform? I don't have a platform other than life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
So Tom, why do you want to run again? It's a commitment of time. Why do you want to be in Alder for another 2 years?
And I think in terms of the revelation, the opportunity at this stage in my life was super appropriate. Earlier, perhaps in my life, I might not have had the time or interest or even desire. You mentioned 2015, Paul, when we started with the station.
Mm-hmm.
Even then, I was thinking about retiring. As you know, I've taken a lot of pictures around town, and when I would go to retirement parties, I would say, "Well, it's my time. It's my So, the timing in one's life, the seasons of one's life, perceiving the next step in your life, it was a godsend for me.
So you've enjoyed it.
I would say the word enjoy is perhaps too much of a hyperbole. It's been a challenge, but again, it's just been for 6 months. But I've been adjusting quickly to the opportunity, quickly to the chance, quickly to the building of what a safe society looks like, not only from the macro standpoint, but very much from the micro standpoint. So, yeah, I focus each day on at least 60% enjoying and 40% being focused.
We're talking to Top Ficklin. He's in his first term as an Alder from Ward 28. He's decided the shoe fits. He's running for a second term. He submitted his paperwork. He's going to run for a second term, a full term, as Alder from Beaver Hills. Tell me about a day as Alder that sticks out in your mind of what the job's like.
Yeah. Well, and again, I'm not speaking for the other 29 folks, and people have kind of, as I've talked to the various Alders, all of us manage our affairs, I think, in a unique way, given our job responsibilities, our personality, and our particular wards. For me, I'll get calls pertaining to, refuse being on the street or trees needing to be trimmed, where we with sidewalks, or certainly in Beaver Hills with, accidents on Whaley Avenue. I also will get calls from folks that bring something to my attention that's been unresolved for 10, 15, 20 years. And I love that, that particular aspect. Also, for example, tonight there'll be a meeting on city services and environmental affairs. So we get a reminder call from the legislative assistant in that regard. Last night I was at the Equal Opportunity Commission meeting. And as you know, the Equal Opportunity Commission has been under a little bit of a cloud, but the meeting last night really kind of reinforced in my mind how we're back in business in terms of monitoring the increased construction that's taking place in the city, and monitoring and even finding people, contractors that aren't obeying the law, 12.5, et cetera, et cetera. So
that's the provision of hiring female and minority-owned companies.
Indeed, and you're going to hear more about the success in that regard, and I was really excited about that. Also had a call this morning from one of the local ministers pertaining to the violence that, again, I like to use the term peacemaking rather than anti-violence, what the next strategy might be in that regard.
Any thoughts on that? What we need to be doing?
I don't have any specific thoughts on it, but I mean, I've been my first anti-violence peacemaking campaign or event I attended was in maybe 1989 with Bishop Brooks. We can see nationwide. Let me say more specifically, Rick Randall, retired police officer, lieutenant, lives across the street from me. And he and
Former candidate for Alder in that ward.
And he and I had a number of I've had a number of conversations this week about why is the training manuals, why are the training manuals still including SWAT teams and tactical, force teams. So the recent appointment of the gentleman that's going to be in terms of the city anti-violence thing. Tomorrow's show, we'll talk about. I have a number of guests that kind of help me out in terms of guest hosts, and tomorrow we'll be focusing at 11 o'clock for folks to tune in, and you'll hear more.
I love your show. I think you go really deep into issues. You bring wonderful people that whom people don't always know about, who are doing good work in our community. And Tom Ficklin's doing his job these days as Alder in Ward 28, going for a second term. Tell me, a lot of debate since you've been on the board is about public education,
Right.
high absenteeism,
Right.
reading problems. And you participated in Aldermanic Affairs meeting recently where the one member of the board was up for reappointment.
Right.
You had voted against that. Why was that?
Right. And I'm glad you pointed that out, because you talk about how the day is, what the job is about. It is a democracy where you're not vilified if you go against the grain.
Right.
And I was
not at all.
And I was not opposed to the other alderman people on that particular commission. They voted in favor, and I voted against. But we're not enemies, and everyone's opinion.
Right.
Everyone's
Of course.
opinion is
We respect different views.
is respected. My particular point of view was that the degree of the crisis is so severe that we really have to hit the stop button. And so I've joked and kidded with some folks about, if you're a person looking to replace Superintendent Eileen Tracy, why in heaven would you come to New Haven? Now, but some people will say, well, New Haven's always a good resume builder, and if I come as superintendent, I'll be able to leave at some point and I'll have a good contract. But the turmoil and the crisis is really profound. So I was kind of expressing my deep sincere that we have to hit the stop button. I'm not suggesting that every other Board of Education member should be removed either. I'm not suggesting that at the moment, but I just felt it was a way of expressing that we need to really understand how the depth and degree of the crisis.
What are some ideas you have for tackling that?
I'm not an educator, but I will say this. What I kind of think about is, given this public discourse of our crisis, why haven't we heard more from the various schools of education that surround us? Why haven't the Southern Connecticut State University Education Department? Why haven't we heard from the chair? Quinnipiac has a tremendous education department. UConn has an educational school. So there's, and not to mention School of Management. So it seems to me that there are quote unquote experts in the area that are dealing with curriculum and administrative leadership and student behavior and social emotional health. I'm looking forward to hearing more. I think we have tools, expertise, skill sets that we can draw upon. In other words, there's no one solution to this. It has to be a collective, integrated solution. And I think we have not taken that deep dive in terms of collecting the expertise that's available to us.
All right. Tom, so you want to see a deep dive into the issues more. And what's the role of the alders in that? So you approve the up and down total budget of the board. You hold hearings into issues like the reading curriculum. You can't go line by line because the board has a separate, if they're different from a city department. They're actually chartered, I think, by the state. I guess, but alders feel like you can still have influence through the purse strings and the hearings you can hold and approving the members of the board.
Sure, and encouraging people to participate in commissions, encouraging people to, on a somber note, I know we started off with only 20 minutes. I've since July 8th, I'll ask at least 3 or 4 people a day, 3 or 4 people a week, do you know who your alder is? And the customer feedback is minimal. I would say roughly it's less than 20% of the people that I ask know. So the burden is on us to, and the privilege is on us to communicate our relevance, to communicate our power, to communicate our influence, and also to inspire people to be involved. This particular election that's coming up, in my mind, Paul, will be really colorful, substantive, and significant in terms of the candidates that have announced thus far.
For mayor. I agree with you, Tom. I found that what I'm really interested about this mayor race is that these are interesting folks. Shafiq Abdus-Sabur, Liam Brennan, Mayor Elker, they've thought a lot about issues. They have very different views. They're very different people with, they've all tried to make a difference in New Haven, and they have a lot of good ideas and different perspectives. I'm looking forward to that debate.
It's going to be tremendous in my mind between now and September, now and November, and I just hope that young people, and I've talked to a lot of young people about why they have not voted and why they are not going to vote, and so the burden still is on us to convince folks that their future does somewhat depend on how city government and state governments and national governments revolve and impact their lives. That's also a major, major challenge and something I'm working on. So I just wanted to kind of particularly make a plea for if you have not voted, call me at 203-768-3390. If you're a young person that are curious about why, you want to talk to me about why I want to try to persuade you to vote. And not only to vote, but to kind of participate in your management team meetings, participate in your ward committee meetings. If you don't know what those entities are about, ask me. And or if you're involved with your own organization, there are a lot of grassroots organizations, separate from charter organizations, that are concerned about this future in New Haven. I'm going to be blessed, Paul, to do the divine at every board meeting. You do a kind of divine guidance, and so I'll be doing that on Monday, and I'm going to talk about a New Haven.
All right, look forward to hearing that. Tom, what about the mayor's race? Do you have a candidate you're looking to back?
I want to hedge my bet by saying I'm not going to go public with that today, because I think there's this, if I can just take a deep breath, becoming an alder is not something that I see to be changing me, but improving me and amplifying me and enhancing what I believe in. And I believe that people's votes should be private, and this kind of being influenced by others' behavior. This is the time for everyone to really feel their truth, speak their truth, exercise their truth. I think in this election you're going to have really some quality choices, substantive choices, to find out about the candidates. You've done an excellent job thus far to interviewing several of the candidates, and it's just February, so endorsements are fine, but endorse yourself, endorse your own spirit, endorse your own belief. And again, I'm saying this in the context of folks that have given up, and there's tremendous reasons about why people have given up about the political system. There are tremendous, rational, reasonable, mental decisions about why people might think that government is not working for me.
So I kind of feel, Tom, tell me if I'm wrong, listening to you, that you have found later in life that being in government as an alder is worth it and it matters. And that part of your mission here, along with other people elected, is to convince the public at large that government matters, that public participation matters, that democracy matters, and to convince people, despite their well-formed ideas that would make them hesitant, that we should show up. We should learn about the candidates. We should make our minds up, and we should participate. And we should vote. Indeed,
and that's anywhere on the planet. There are no, whether you're in China, whether you're in Ukraine at the moment, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Brazil, the politics is I like to use the term political economy actually rather than just politics. So political economy is kicking in regardless of whether you think you can impact and change it.
What about charter revisions coming up this year for your mayoral term? Any thoughts on that?
You've mentioned that you might want to discuss that, and I haven't given a lot of thought. But the public hearing, here's a perfect example. The public hearings are taking place. Please attend the public hearings, or find out when they're going to be, and email me if you want, tomficklin@aol.com for that schedule. So that the charter revision is another perfect example where we can revise, innovate, change, improve the system. It's designed for that purpose.
All right. Well, Tom Ficklin, way to go. That went by fast. I think we went over the 20, but we got some public service things we got to play. Tom Ficklin, man of many talents, many accomplishments in his lifetime. He's adding later in life public service as an alder. Ward 28 in his first term. He has filed paperwork. He's ready to run again as a Democrat. And in November, and if there's probably just November, any final thoughts, Tom, before we?
No, just the song you're playing is for people just to listen to those words and what it means to them in their life.
Nina Simone first, and now we got the update. Well, thank you so much, Tom. Always love chatting with you.
Thank you, Paul.
And remember, everyone, listen to the Tom Ficklin Show. You can listen to it live. It'll be tomorrow on Thursday, or you just go to the WNHH website or Facebook page, New Haven Independent. You can always find it there. It's a great show. Good man. Thanks for coming in, Tom.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks to Harry Droz, as always, working the controls. And we're going to take it out, as Tom said, with the Afro-Semitic experience performing I Wish I Knew How It Would Feel to Be Free from the group CD, A Plea for Peace. This is Paul Bass inviting you to fly free with us all day, all night long on WNHH, New Haven's home for community radio.